determines happiness? Fellow Toastmasters, special guest. If I ask each one of you that question individually, perhaps there would be many different answers to that. As Bill said, I recently attended a life coaching program. 9 months, it was like giving birth to a baby. Not as painful though. During that course, one of my required readings was a book called The How of Happiness. Fantastic book. I loved it. This book was based on empirical studies that was funded by the National Institute of Mental Health. The results to me are quite interesting. 50% of our happiness comes from a preset point of reference from our mother, our father, or both. In other words, it's something we cannot change. I find that most interesting. 50%. Think of it as if people are you have people that are skinny, you know, they have a skinny attitude. Then we have those that if you are trying to maintain your weight and you slack off for a while, the pounds start to add on. So we're kind of predetermined on that. 50% of that is already predetermined, based on our genes. Now, the most counterintuitive finding of their research is the research that only 10% of the variance of our happiness comes from outside circumstances. Would you have thought that? I'm seeing yes, I'm seeing no. What are those outside circumstances? Am I rich? I wish. Am I poor? Am I healthy? Am I unhealthy? Am I beautiful or just plain? Am I married or single? They've done research where they surveyed Americans that were making $10 million a year. Hard to me to even imagine $10 million a year. Did I say 10,000? 10 million a year. And these millionaires were only slightly happier than their office workers or their blue-collar workers that they employed. Only slightly happier. Another part of the research, supposedly married people are happier than single people. I know we could probably contest that one here in this room, but the research of 16 countries, 25% of the married people and 21% of the single people said that they were very happy. That's just a slight difference. So if you're already doing the math, 50% and 10%, what have you got left? 40%. So if you're saying the genes aren't the biggest, well, it is a big factor. We can't change that. And to a great extent, we can't change our external circumstances. Yes, we can, and I'm not discouraging you to change certain aspects of those. But that 40% that remains is due to our behavior. We have 40% control over our happiness. And if you want to think about that, we can increase or we can decrease our happiness through our behavior. Think of it as to perhaps habits. The research that they did came up with 7 specific areas where people were the happiest. The first one is time spent with family, time spent with friends, nurturing and developing those meaningful relationships. That's probably one most of us would come up with. The second one, and I love your word of the day, Jean, it couldn't have been more appropriate, is expressed gratitude. Express gratitude for all that we have. One of the things I learned in this program is sometimes just being grateful for even negative things that come into our life. Because those negative situations sometimes they've helped me to grow to become a different person. Express gratitude, and I call that an attitude of gratitude. And when you look at things, the glass is half full or is it half empty? The third thing that they determined was that these people that were very happy, they typically were the first to offer a helping hand to a coworker, to perhaps someone down on their luck, or just a certain situation. Today, I have to admit, I was feeling pretty stressed. And as I went to go work out, I called the owner of Curves and said, "Would you like a cup of coffee?" And she said, "Oh, I would love one." And I want you to know my stress level went down just from that act of doing that, thinking of someone else. So offering to help others. The fourth was practicing optimism whenever when they were thinking about their future. I know for many years I would think about my future with fear. But if we think about our future optimistically, it will make us happier. The fifth thing was, and this I find challenging and I work on it every day, is savoring life's little experiences and trying to be in the moment. I'm a very future-oriented person, but how to just stay in the moment. And one of the things we learned in this program was just to light a candle and just look at that candle and look at the flame. And having recently decorated my house, I sat and I love lights, I love candles. And this special friend and I were sitting watching these lights and just looking at all the beauty that Christmas does have to offer. Number 6, these people exercise. They had a habit of exercising. That gets the endorphins going, does it not? They did this usually on a weekly basis. And number 7 was that they were committing themselves to lifelong goals and ambitions. In other words, they had something to look forward to. I think that's a critical one. If you look at these people in the research, they all experienced situations that would bring them down. They had tragedies, they had stresses in their lives, just like everyone else. But the difference was how they managed to bounce back up. And they did go through these tribulations. It was like their secret weapon. They did it with poise and with great strength. I remind myself every day, here again, it's like exercising, we build those muscles, that it is a choice to find joy in small things. In everyday routines. And I imagine everyone would agree with me, some days are better than other days. But you know, sometimes I guess we have to have a little negativity to contrast to say, yeah, but most of my days are great. So I encourage you to have a positive outlook, focus on what is good in your life, take stock of that, and realize that you, each of us, has control over our happiness. It's our choice to make today, to make it the best day, because happiness is a choice.